So, guys, with us today, we are very honoured to have the one and only Martin Ferrero, who played Gennaro in Jurassic Park. Thanks for joining us, Martin.
Oh, my pleasure.
So, I mean, we usually get straight into, just ask a few questions. I mean, does anyone want to go? Yeah, does anyone want to go first?
Yes. What was it like working with Steven Spielberg?
It was the best. I got a chance to casting director Gianna Hershenson and Jane Jenkins brought me in for the project, and they sent the tape and my reel over to Steven, and he said he wanted to meet me, and so I went over to Amblin Studios, which is on the Universal lot, and sat out in this garden, beautiful garden with a running stream and everything. And Stephen came out, and I told him, I said, I felt like I was in Mrs. Mulray's garden. and he started we got immediately into John Ford and Howard Hawks and Orson Welles, Scorsese, David Lean, all the directors that influenced him. And we started talking about movies, and he's just, he's a film buff from Northern California, and so was I. So we ended up talking at length about the profession of acting, and he said he was thinking about casting me in the part of Gennaro, and he said, but I have a different idea on his death. And I said, his death? Wait a minute. I read the play. I read the book. And he ends up, saving kids at one point. And he said, no. He's going to have a death scene. I said, oh, okay. And then he explained to me what the death scene was.
And you couldn't resist.
And I said, when do we start? I thought, that's pretty amazing. I always had reservations. I thought, what's this going to look like, really? But I got a chance to look at the storyboard in his office. Spielberg's storyboards they're like Hitchcock. I mean, you just go frame to frame and you can see exactly what the movie looks like. Hitchcock said that, he didn't like directing movies necessarily. After he did the storyboard, he knew what the movie was. He didn't go in for the aspect after that as much. But Steven's storyboard, I got to see what it looked like, the dinosaur and the commode and everything. It looked pretty interesting. And I got a chance to meet Stan Winston, went out to his studio, and it was incredible. The late Stan Winston, just a genius. Special effects, man, he told me what it was how he was gonna do it. They really weren't sure. They said they might go CGI. It was a mechanical dinosaur. They might do that, and they used a dummy, and they did at one point. Apparently, that didn't look very good. The dummy is like, I don't know if you remember the original King Kong.
Yeah.
The oddly carnivorous brontosaurus, when he dragged that guy out of the tree and shook him around, you go, oh, that's a dummy. So I guess that just didn't look. And so when I saw the CGI later, I said, "This is incredible." Steven told me at the beginning. Am I rambling on? Is everything okay?
No, all good. Amazing.
Okay, Steven told me at the beginning. He said the main reason I wanted you for this role is I saw your reel. I saw the lawyer you played on the pilot for Shannon's Deal.
Yeah.
He said, "Did you improvise a lot of that?" And I said, "Yeah, I did." And he said, "Well, we're not going to have time to improvise." And I go, "That's okay. I don't really improvise. That wasn't improvisation, what I did there. It's called prepared spontaneity. I write something up, and then I submit it, and if they approve and say, yeah, go ahead and try this, either they'll shoot that and they'll print that, or they'll print what they had originally done." And he said, "Well, if there's anything you think you can add, write it up." And
wow.
And I said, "Oh, okay, great."
Did anything make it to screen?
Well, here's the thing. In the beginning, I didn't have a good first day. In fact, it was an awful first day. I had nothing to add to the scene at all, and sometimes an actor's responsibility is to hit his marks and say his lines and not bump into the furniture. So you've got to be prepared to do these things because a lot of people are working. Some shots are very, very complex, and it's not just you as an actor. It's everybody. Everything is working at one time, and you've got to be able to do it on time, and you've got to do it over. And it's like, cut, do it again. And I had kind of an awful first day, and Steven said, don't worry about it. And I thought, oh, gee, if they don't fire me, I'm never going to come to the set unprepared again. and I didn't. If I had nothing to add to the dialogue, I just learned the dialogue and I was ready to go. But I did write some stuff, and Steven looked at it, and he would always say, "Well, you're jumping the plot." And I said, "Oh, you're right. Absolutely. I'm trying to show everybody that Gennaro is the smartest guy in the room when he's negotiating things. But he's a coward when he runs away from the children and stuff like that. But as a lawyer, he's pretty good." But he said, "You're telling them stuff that we're going to show them later." And so he rejected it. And I said, no, I understand. So I didn't write anything for a while. And then one of the last scenes that we shot was the conference where we were talking about the safety of the park.
My favorite scene.
Yeah, I wrote something and I gave it to Steven, and the day before, and he looked at it and he said, "You write this?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, if we have time tomorrow, we'll give you a take with the approval of the other actors in the scene." I said, "Great." So the next day, just before lunch, last shot before lunch, he asked the rest of the cast, he said, "I'm going to let Marty go off script right now." And they all looked at me and were like, "Oh, it's about time. You finally got something approved that you had written. Okay, let's see what this is like." And I basically argued against the chaos theory, saying that our job as scientists had nothing to do with chaos. If you're going to open a park and you've got the chaos, you're employing the chaos theory, no park would be open, ever, all over the entire planet. And so I was able to put that argument up. And then Steven shot coverage after lunch and then told me at the cast party, he said, your improv made the first cut in editing.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
And I said, "Okay, all right." And then he told me later, so we had to cut it. And I don't know if he said it made first cut in editing just to make me feel good or not. I don't know. But it felt, I got to see it in the editing room after we did it. It looked pretty good. I thought it was pretty strong. But, this is not a movie about lawyers. It's a movie about dinosaurs. So the focus has to stay there. So, but he gave me that opportunity to do that, and that was, that's endeared me for life for that man. That's great.
Awesome. I mean, you already answered my question. I was going to ask, what was your reaction to being eaten off the toilet? Your character's reaction. Your reaction to your character.
We got to go see that at a screening in Steven's film room. He was in Poland, I guess, doing Schindler's List.
Yeah.
So the actors were invited to come in and take a look at it. And I remember Laura Dern and Jeff Goldblum were sitting in front of me. And after my death scene, they just turned their necks towards me and just kind of, "Nice, that looked great." And so we got to send a message off to Steven in Poland to say we saw the final product here before it opened and gave our impressions. And I told Steven, I said, "When you told me about the toilet scene, I always had reservations. I was going to take the job no matter what, but I thought this is going to look ridiculous. But doggone it, it looks great."
It's one of the most iconic death scenes in any film.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, I said it was terrific, and thanks a lot for your patience with me and everything, and I appreciate all your hard work. And good luck with Schindler's List, because now he was making a departure from that type of film to a more personal sort of film. So.
Yeah, I mean, Tim, have you got anything you want to?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just hearing what Martin was saying, I would have loved to have seen that improvisation in the final edit. That would have been amazing.
I'm waiting for the next version to come out. The lost scenes from Jurassic Park. So.
It's just, I mean, your role is so different compared to the novel. Was that difficult? Yeah. Basically being able, because you said that you read the book first. Was that difficult trying to transition between the character in the book and the script?
This guy was a very muscular Greek, I believe, Greek extraction. He was very very strong physically, and at one point I think he saved the children from the raptors at one point. But doing it this way, when you read the script, when you read the adaptation, it seemed like Gennaro was kind of a combination of Gennaro, and I think there's a character named, is it Remus? I think he gets taken down by the T-Rex, I think. And
Regis.
Regis, yeah.
That's it. Yeah, they kind of combine those two roles together, and I think Steven you know, and the development of the film, which worked beautifully, is that you've got to have a memorable death scene just to shake everybody up at about the halfway point. And that really establishes your T-Rex, and you can't wait to see him again. I heard that they added the scene at the end with the T-Rex taking down the Velociraptors because we got to bring him back. We got to bring the T-Rex back, and in a fashion where he basically saves them. I thought, wow, that's pretty ingenious. And it looked great. I really enjoyed the film very much.
Oh yeah.
I went and saw Jurassic Park in 3D when it came out quite recently.
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught it.
Yeah, I went on a panel with Dennis Murin and Rick Carter, who was the production designer, and Phil Tippett, who did the stop motion, and William Chirac, who was in charge of the converting from 2D to 3D. And we were on this panel where we got to talk to an audience, and then they showed us the film in 3D. It was amazing. I don't go to too many 3D films, and so I don't know what they look like. And the depth to this was incredible. I really enjoyed the 3D effect. Yeah, very much. Plus, I got entrance applause from the adoring crowd in the in the preview, just because I was talking after.
Your line when you say, "Do you have autoerotica?"
Yeah.
Every screening I've seen Jurassic Park in, that gets the biggest laugh.
Yeah. I didn't write that. That was in the script. I don't get credit for that one.
It's your delivery of that line. It just makes people just crack up. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
I think that Pete, like the Gennaro character, is everyone's sort of unofficial favourite character because obviously the toilet death scene, you know, you have the few laughs there, and the line that Richard Attenborough's character delivers, the blood-sucking lawyer character.
That's
the lines.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a friend who, when it first came out, they were showing it in department stores where they're trying to sell televisions, and they had and my friend said I stopped and got the most expensive TV that was showing it and looked really closely to see where the wires were and everything, and it didn't give itself away at all. That was Kurtwood. Kurtwood Smith said that, so I thought, all right, Kurt was really, I respect Kurtwood's opinion. He was really impressed by the scene, so I thought that.
Did you enjoy working with Richard Attenborough?
The best, yeah. I was always quizzing him about. He had worked on one of my favorite films of all time, The Great Escape.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I kept asking about Steve McQueen, and he goes, McQueen was the rebel that he always was. He'd jump on his motorcycle and take off.
Yeah.
You know, that's the way he was. But I remember growing up, and that film was very, very influenced me quite a bit. And that when Attenborough did, then I just saw recently, I saw it's called Seance on a Wet Afternoon, I think. He played the wife of a crazy, I think Kim Stanley played this a crazy person who was trying to find out where these missing children were. And it was very strong acting, stuff that I'd never seen him do before. And he was the kindest man. And Steven, I think, would lean on him quite a bit for suggestions and in the directing and stuff, because he was an accomplished director and was always willing to give his opinion on things if Steven wanted another opinion. I loved the man very much. I thought he was a terrific friend, and that briefcase that I carry around in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
He loved that briefcase. He thought that was great. And I gave him that briefcase at the end of the shoot.
Oh, fantastic.
I know you. So Richard's got that briefcase. If anybody wants to know if it ever shows up on eBay, Richard's got it, actually.
Right. Oh, that's brilliant. I mean,
were you,
go on, sorry.
Go on, Sam.
No, I mean, obviously, it must have been like a dream job. Obviously, you got to go to Hawaii and shoot there, work with Steven Spielberg, Richard Attenborough, you know, Jeff Goldblum, Sam Neill. And I mean, and then when it came out, you know, obviously it had the special effects, which were groundbreaking, but then it became, at the time, the highest grossing movie of all time. You must have been, I mean, what was your reaction to that, like, just as a whole?
Well, I went out and got the papers right when it opened, and I saw that its heaviest competition for the summer was Last Action Hero.
Yeah.
With Arnold Schwarzenegger. And the reviews were just scathing. And I thought, oh my God, we're going to be the only film. We don't have to really compete against something that may have a dubious track record with the reviews. And of course, when it took off, it felt like, wow, this is the best. This is really, and it deserved it too, because I've seen it at a number of showings. We got to go to Washington, D.C. for the premiere, and we saw it there. And every time I saw it, I went, yeah, this is terrific. And every time our audience would respond, it felt so good to be part of it. One of the greatest feelings that I ever had, one of the greatest things that happened, is the paleontology organization named a dinosaur after the cast of Jurassic Park. They took the first letter of the last name of all the actors, and it's Nedid Oapu Furke Morium. It's the oldest dinosaur discovered in northwestern China.
That's right. I think I remember that.
And they said that only 300 dinosaurs have been named in the history of paleontology.
Mm.
And that's a very, and that on top of the movie coming out, I thought, wow, Jesus, I'm part of history now. That's really outstanding. So, yeah, I feel very, very proud of that.
Now you're talking to us guys.
Hey, I couldn't be happier. You remember the hurricane that hit there in Iki?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When it hit the day before we were going to leave, I think, and Iki came on shore, and we were all told the thing was going to hit, and the entire company was ushered into this ballroom at the hotel. And because it's a film company, they've got generators and water and everything. We felt we were taken care of, but the building would shake during the hurricane, and there was a big chandelier right in the middle that everybody stayed away from, and that was kind of scary. And I brought my family, my wife and my two sons, and my eldest boy was 8 at the time, and had just been diagnosed with autism, and he brought his favorite music, and it was Fantasia. And his scene that he played over and over again, the song that he played over and over again, while we were all in that ballroom, was Stravinsky's Rite of Spring.
Oh, excellent. The dinosaur section of the film as well.
Yeah, of course, the dinosaur section would be, of course, the most interesting to a young boy. And playing Rite of Spring, everybody would come by and sit down and listen for a while and just soak in the atmosphere of Stravinsky and this hurricane that was shaking the building at the time. And it was amazing. They took a crew out. Steven took a crew out of volunteers just to, when the eye came over, to get out and try to get some footage. With all the precautions taken. Yeah.
Some of that must have made it into the film, I'm sure.
So. I think it did.
Yeah.
And it was very, but I think they got approval to just flat out film it and then get right back in again, because that if you're out in the eye, I don't know, I'd never been in a hurricane before, but when that back end hits you, it hits just as hard as it hit the first time. And the poor island was just devastated by this hurricane, but when it was over the next day, there was all kinds of debris all over the driveway that led up to the hotel. They couldn't get ambulances or anything up there, but the crew from Jurassic Park, they had chainsaws and things, and they just cut those trees away from the entrance and cleared that area out. It was a real kind of noble thing that this company was able to help out the first aid and all the emergency services that needed help in getting to the hotel. And I thought, this is great. This is really team. And then Kathleen Kennedy, who was one of the producers, took a National Guard helicopter off Kauai and got to the mainland, or to Honolulu, and then took a private jet back and landed on an airstrip that had been pretty well torn up with food and medicine for the people on the island. And then they took a group of people off, and because I had my wife and my 2 children with me, we went on the first trip on the private jet back to Honolulu, and then we got a ride home. We found a way to get home from there. But
wow.
Yeah.
We love hearing all these sort of stories. We've interviewed quite a few people from the films, like Phil Tippett and Colin Trevorrow, who's now doing the new one, and everyone seems to have such different, interesting stories, and that was just amazing.
Yeah.
Because they're doing a petition online at the moment to get a documentary out about that hurricane that hit. So it's interesting to start to hear the stories, because obviously it's Jurassic Park's 21st anniversary today.
Is it? 21st today? Oh.
21, it came out June the 11th, 1993. And so I think we'll all be watching it later. I know I will when I get home from work.
All right. Good.
But
I inspired you to go back to it again. That's good.
Yeah, no, that's amazing.
I mean, does anyone want to ask Marty anything else?
Yeah, I think I just had one more question, guys. Martin, you mentioned, obviously, we know that you worked with some of the animatronics. Given that it was 1993, to what extent during the filming had you actually seen the CGI for yourself?
I've seen the CGI. Well, you mean when we were doing it, when we were working on it?
Yeah, I mean, basically, or did you just walk into the cinema once it was all done and you were like, wow?
Yeah, we got to see a little bit of I remember the T-Rex. They had like a mechanical T-Rex in front of me, and had it coming down towards me, and then they flipped it over to CGI. But during the scene itself with the animatronic dinosaur, we shot it indoors in this gigantic studio, and that they had to put the rain constantly coming down. So they had big sprinklers going all the time. And they'd soak us, and then the dinosaur would start to make his move towards me. And they go, cut. And they go, okay, give Marty a fresh shirt, start all over again. And so they kept drenching us and drying us. And the dinosaur, the self, the animatronic, they had to keep drying it off between takes, because if they didn't get it completely dry, it would have this little shudder to it when it was moving. And I felt like a cornerback, trying to guard somebody who was trying to shake and bake me. And it would make these moves, and it was just it was incredible. And then when they put the CGI in later, then you got to see it later. You got to see the finished product, because they still weren't sure how they wanted to do that scene. But when I saw the CGI later, that's the one. That's okay. But all the other animatronic stuff was, these guys are light years ahead of other filmmakers in putting this stuff together, and it was a new direction in special effects to go hand in hand with CGI. It's
yeah, because they're going to be using animatronics in the next film with CGI. Yeah,
really?
It's been confirmed that they're keeping it like that style, so it doesn't sort of break continuity in special effects. So
good for them.
So it's something Jurassic Park's had since the beginning, and something that's hopefully will inspire more people to do it that way.
Yeah. Listen, gentlemen, can I just say one thing off the record, or not off the record, but not to do with the film necessarily?
Yes,
sure, by all means.
I have a son who's 29 now. He's an adult, and he's on the autism spectrum. And I know there's a lot of parents out there with sons and daughters with autism, and it seems to be growing every year. Nobody really knows why, and then there's of course no cure for autism. But I just finished a book called The Reason I Jump by Naoki Higashida, and I think Jon Stewart talked about this book a few months ago, and it shot up to #1. I would suggest anybody who has a son or daughter, or somebody knows somebody with autism, this is a book written about a 13-year-old boy with autism who used an alphabet grid to answer questions, and just very, very briefly, just for the people who would be affected by this, they asked him, would you like to be normal? And he said, if somebody developed a medicine to cure autism, I might well choose to stay as I am. He says, for us, you see, having autism is normal. So we can't know for sure what normal is, even to know what it is. But so long as we can learn to love ourselves, I'm not sure how much it matters whether we're normal or autistic. And it says the people who are looking after us, that are minding us, and are saying, well, he's always causing problems, and they're useless at pretty much everything we try to do. You can't begin to imagine how miserable and sad we get. I ask you, those of you who are with us all day, not to stress yourselves out because of us. When you do this, it feels as if you're denying any value at all our lives may have, and that saps the spirit that we need to soldier on. The hardest ordeal for us is the idea that we're causing grief for other people. We can put up with our own hardships, but the thoughts that our lives are the source of other people's unhappiness, that's plain unbearable. And it just, and before I read that, you're always trying to figure out what your son or daughter is thinking, what they're going through, and if you're doing the right thing as a parent. So I'm just trying to send a message out to everybody affected by this affliction, that they're doing the best they can, and they really appreciate your efforts. Yeah. Thank you for letting me go off.
Yeah. I've got a family member who has autism, so we'll definitely be looking up that book.
Excellent.
We'll put links on that on our website and that, so anyone who's everyone should check it out. So,
okay.
I mean, by the time this goes up, it'll be on there, so check it out. And
okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just quickly want to throw in, Marty, that whenever you see an interview with Jeff Goldblum and they ask him about Jurassic Park, he always brings up the stories about you. You're on set. Yeah, I mean, there's one about, what was it about? You turned to him one day and said, suggested about how about the Ian Malcolm character gets killed instead of him.
No, I never said that. I said, well, that's what happens in the book.
Mm.
But then I looked probably at Mr. Goldblum's status as an actor and my status as an actor, and I go, of course he's going to survive. My God, they probably have a sequel.
Oh.
That's I get an ideal death scene, so I can live with that. I'll get
you parodied that scene with College Humor, didn't you? Which
that's right. I did.
Amazing short. We'll post that up as well.
That's when I rewrote some stuff, and I never really submitted it because I knew they were on a time frame. But I wanted to put some stuff in there where I got into an argument with them about, I don't die. No, I don't die. No, it's not in the book. I thought you guys were doing a true adaptation of the book. Well, I'm not dying. I'm not going out there. No, you got to go out there. So I thought, oh, you're just trying to take over the project, Marty. Say the lines as they wrote them and try to have a good time. So it ended up being fun. Yeah, I did have a good time.
Well, I mean, I could probably sit here, and I suppose the other guys we could chat all day, but we'll let you get on, and
okay.
It was an absolute honour having you on the show. I mean, not only are you in my favourite film, Jurassic Park, you're also in my favourite comedy film, which is Planes, Trains and Automobiles.
You're the man.
John Candy.
Yeah.
I love that film. Cracks me up every time.
I got to mention very, very quickly. You guys in Los Angeles, the Los Angeles Lakers are very, very important. We love our basketball. We love the Lakers. And at the time when I did Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, the Lakers were playing the Celtics. It was a real pivotal game. And if you ask anybody, any American about the baby hook by Magic Johnson against the Celtics that basically sealed the victory, and then we went back home and clinched the series against Boston. It was a big thing for the LA Lakers. And after I finished doing my scene in Planes and Trains, I wanted to get on the road and try to get back home to see the game. And John said, I got a TV in my trailer. You want to come watch it in there? And I said, great, yeah, because I don't think I want to get home in time. So he invited me in, and it was great. We got to watch the game in there. I got to see that shot. Mm. And he was, I got tickets for later on, like the 7th game of the series. You guys are going to wrap it up in 6. And I said, no, John, you don't understand. this is important to LA basketball fans. He goes, well, I'm not a basketball fan. I'm from Canada. So, I'm into hockey. I said, John, you're going to remember this day. This is a very, very important day. So I remember that little sidelight to working with John. He was just a terrific guy. Very friendly out on the set and talking to everybody. And it was good. I had a good time doing that too. And John Landis was a terrific director and very, very kind and helpful.
Yeah, it's a fantastic film. I absolutely love it.
It is. It still holds up, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, when my kids are old enough, I'm sure I'm going to make them watch it a million times, as with Jurassic Park. So, but I mean, I suppose we'll wrap the interview there.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us, Marty.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
so much.
gentlemen.
It's an absolute honour.
It's been amazing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.